just sort of like orient me a little bit to your life.
Okay, so right now I am a freshman at the University of Texas, Austin. I am a biology major, but I plan on specializing, like declaring my specialization in cell and molecular biology. And
Okay.
I'm also working on a minor in sociology. And
Awesome.
you already know this, I'm pre-med, but yeah, I don't know if that's like a good enough summary. Oh,
Cool.
no.
Sociology is an awesome combination with that. It'll kind of balance you out a little bit. All right. Well, cool. I'm sure UT Austin is fun. I recently went to Austin. It's an amazing place.
Yes, I love the city.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, good. So, being a freshman, sometimes it can feel like med school is kind of far away and you're just, you just gotta sort of go through the motions for a little while before really the rubber hits the road. But I actually think that it is really important what you're starting to do now because I just recently had a call with someone else, and she was towards the end of her junior year, and she had all these different experiences. But what we were talking about is how we can kind of build a narrative to bring them all together. And I
Hmm.
think that it's best to talk to somebody who's a freshman or a sophomore because you can kind of mindfully create your pre-med experience, so
Hmm.
that it really comes together more naturally. It doesn't need to be sort of a forced narrative. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So to start, like, why are you thinking about medicine in the first place? Is there any like particular area of medicine that you feel totally connected to, and that's kind of like what's pulled you in, or how did this all start?
Yeah. So I honestly, like right off the bat, I wasn't a science nerd from the beginning. Like I was honestly really bad at science in middle school.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I didn't really decide about going into the health field until ninth grade, like my freshman year of high school,
Mm-hmm.
when I took my first biology class. I really liked the subject, like I was actually good at it and I enjoyed it. So I kind of considered it, but it wasn't really like I wasn't really set on doctor yet.
Yeah.
Um, and then I actually had a surgery my freshman year of high school, like that same year, for
Mm-hmm.
this tumor I had in my jaw. It wasn't like cancerous or anything, it was benign, but
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoyed seeing the process. Because I had always watched Grey's Anatomy, but I knew it was very romanticized. And
Mm-hmm.
so when I was getting the surgery, I was like, oh, like I'm right here, like I'm the patient, and I was observing, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm actually interested, like a branch of medicine, I'd say I'm interested in psychiatry because I did end up taking AP psychology in high school,
Mm-hmm.
and we learned a lot about the stigma around mental disorders
Mm-hmm.
and like how people didn't even believe that they were real, like it was a real thing
Right.
until relatively recently. And so that's kind of what I'm interested in, but I can't say like I'm open to everything else, you know?
You're not just saying that because you know that I'm doing psychiatry, right?
No, I didn't know that at all.
Yeah,
That's wonderful.
I was originally interested in surgery and then just got smacked in the face by a love for psychiatry. So, um, well, very cool. So there's a couple of things there. I kind of cut you off. Was there another part of this?
No, that's basically like the general story.
Mm-hmm. All right, cool. Well, so there's a couple things there. I think you are very lucky being a pre-med that likes biology because there's actually quite a few people that are pre-meds and or go into medical school and they like actually don't really enjoy their science courses all that much, but it gives you a step ahead. And really in a lot
Mhm.
of medicine, doing lab research or bench research is sort of held at sort of the highest standard. And that's
Mhm.
true in any specialty, in psychiatry and surgery and anything. So if you really enjoy biology, I encourage you to dive all in because really you will see that a lot of your pre-med peers will only kind of be doing it to go through the motions and it will be more
Mhm.
painful for them. But if you really enjoy it, and you can dive into some um, lab research or something like that. If you
Hmm.
really enjoy that, that will really set you ahead.
Awesome. That's good
Yeah.
to hear.
Um, okay. So at the beginning, you like biology, and you mentioned sociology. You got the surgery. So have you been involved with any clubs or extracurriculars yet, or have you, kind of left
Yeah.
things open?
So, first semester of college, I didn't really get involved in a lot of things. I kind of just
Hmm.
focused on my school work. But this semester, I got involved with this pre-health frat called Delta Epsilon Mu. I'm not sure if you heard of it. But
No.
yeah, and then I also, so at UT Austin, they have this thing called the Freshman Research Initiative, and I applied
Hmm.
like about a year ago. It basically allows freshmen to get research experience really early in their undergraduate career.
Cool.
So I started with that this semester, and I'm in this research lab for behavioral neuroscience, and we
Oh, perfect.
basically, yeah, we kind of examine the effects of alcohol on like we look at tolerance and sedation, and we would have looked at aggression, but with COVID-19 happening, we don't really get to do that.
Yeah. Okay. So that is perfect. I mean, I think that you're already sort of starting to build this narrative a little bit where
Oh, great.
if you can say that you're, I mean, this is another thing that I said in my last call was that you 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 don't have to choose a specialty before med school. Like, I
Mhm,
think it's good to go into med school and have a totally open mind and explore everything, but I think that it really gives you uh, gives puts you a step ahead to choose a specialty, at least to build a narrative around, and then you
mhm,
can demonstrate that you're open-minded, then once you're talking to the med schools, when you're being
mhm,
interviewed in a couple of years. But I think that if you got involved in this neuroscience lab and if you enjoy it, which I haven't asked yet if you do, but that would go very naturally with your biology major, with sociology would tie into that, uh, and then if you're essentially sort of be choosing the specialty of psychiatry as sort of a a narrative to carry you to medical
mhm,
school. And then once you're actually in medical school, you can feel things out more. You're not really making a decision yet, but I think it is helpful to sort of have your eye on a
mhm.
specialty and then craft a narrative towards that. And it seems like you're kind of going in that direction already, which is really good.
Okay, that's so good to hear because I feel so in the dark about
Mhm.
med school stuff, and I'm like, is it too early to start?
No, I mean, it is important though to not, burn yourself out and to enjoy
Mhm,
your college years. And this is a big point that I make in med school mastery and to all the pre-meds I talk to is that, if you are really grinding as a pre-med and you are feeling like you're not enjoying life, maybe feeling depressed at times, like it is, there's so much more of that to come, and I really don't know if that's the healthiest thing to do. And
mhm,
luckily, the things that were most uh, competitive and beneficial for me as a pre-med were actually the random things that I did that really gave balance to my life and really and really made me enjoy life. So I think that there needs to be sort of this this foundation of good academic achievement, getting good,
mhm,
a good enough MCAT score, and then having this narrative. But then next to that, like a big thing that med schools are looking for is, are you a real person? Are you a person that
mhm,
that people are going to like to work with and that are going to uh, that are and a lot of those things that you're doing outside of the classroom are things that will give you good sort of patient skills, communication skills, bedside manner. So so it sounds like you have this academic foundation pretty good. I would say obviously you got to study and get the good grades and the good MCAT score,
Mhm.
but that'll be happening in the next few years. But on this other side is kind of the next thing I wanted to talk about is, is there anything random that you like to do that you're doing on the side that you can sort of build into, this completely unrelated to medicine, sort of interesting thing about you?
Um, I'm not sure if this is interesting. I mean, you kind of already know from my Instagram that I'm really interested in hand
Hmm.
lettering and calligraphy, like not even just for my notes, but I really like design and all that. And recently, I began working with this nonprofit company
Uh-huh.
that helps students with financial literacy and math and all that. And they asked if I could write notes for them with like the calligraphy and all that. I don't know if that
Cool.
counts as something or if
Yeah,
it's too
totally.
related to school.
Totally, yeah. That's a really good example. And then I would think now, you're already doing this by getting involved with this organization, but kind of dive into this more. So if you can say, hey, look,
Mhm,
I'm a great student and I did all these cool things in biology, neuroscience, sociology, just sort of, point me towards psychiatry. But then also I have these other interests that are really unique. Calligraphy, I mean, I don't know anyone who's really into calligraphy. So it's really unique and interesting and memorable about you. So I would encourage you to keep, diving into that and looking for other organizations or some sort of like calligraphy society thing, or just,
mhm,
engage with it as much as you can if it's a real interest of yours.
mhm, of
Yeah.
course.
Yeah.
I
Go ahead.
also like on the topic of other oh, sorry, what were you saying?
No, go ahead.
Like on the topic of other hobbies, like I can't say that I'm like a person with no hobbies, but it's like I don't know what's considered like a quotation mark good hobby. Like it's like I'm also interested in like health and fitness, but it also plays a role into medicine too. So I'm like,
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah. What is that interest? Just personally, just exercising, or is there something more than
Yeah,
that?
exercising pretty much.
Yeah, and like a particular type of exercise, or just the combination of running
Yeah,
and
like
weights or something?
yeah, pretty much that.
Yeah. Similarly, that could totally be a hobby, and that could totally be something that you include in your application. It's probably
Mm,
less unique than calligraphy, but you
mhm,
may be able to, also find ways to get very involved with that. Or I know people who, or even doing research in like weightlifting for strength growth or things like that, which maybe isn't directly, medical, but
mhm,
it's scientific and something that's related to the medical field. And also, like for instance, it's becoming more apparent in the field of psychiatry, for instance, and obviously in other subspecialties as well, that there are major benefits to getting regular exercise. So if you wanted to explore that as a project or something like that, that also could be
mhm.
good. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So that kind of covers a little bit of like the, building a narrative and then some side interest things. One other thing I want to say about the side interests is that, the just as you have free time and you're considering what you can do, continue to be open to things that don't fit into this narrative but that are fun and interesting and cool for you.
Mhm.
For me, I was a horse wrangler in Colorado for a while, and I
Ooh.
swear that is the most important thing I've had on my application
Oh my
for
god.
medical school and for residency. At every single interview, they asked me, oh, what's this about you being a horse wrangler? What's this about? It was every single medical school
That's
interview and
really
every
cool.
single residency interview. But I mean, it was when I was doing it, I was like, oh, I'm so irresponsible. All my friends are doing summer research, but like, I'm too lazy. I'm just going to enjoy this summer and be riding horses. And little did I know it was going to be, the
Yeah,
biggest thing to
that's
grab
really
the
awesome.
attention.
What the heck?
Well, so I would encourage you to, think outside the box and do something random or cool or adventurous like that too. And it helps to make you more memorable and sort of, stand out from the
Hmm.
giant stacks of papers that they
Yeah, that makes sense.
have. All right, cool. So narrative side things, and then just from an academic perspective, have you met with an advisor? Are you aware of sort of the required classes you should be taking, and how are you feeling about those?
Yes, I did meet with, so this semester I met with my like general advisor and we went through a 4-year plan for my courses.
Hmm.
And then I made a whole spreadsheet for it because I'm like a control freak and I have to have it all down.
Yeah.
And I also went to, they call it a health professions coach at my school, but I guess it's like a pre-med advisor, like the same
Hmm.
thing. But, and then we
Okay.
just discussed like leadership, volunteering, and all that.
Okay. And did you have a couple classes already? Are they going fine, or has there been some struggles and battles as there always is?
I think my biggest struggle is my Gen Chem lab.
Hmm.
But for the other classes, they're fine. Did you want like a list of what I've taken so far?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. Last semester I did Gen Bio and Gen Chem, and then this semester I'm in Gen Chem 2,
Mhm.
biostatistics, the chem lab, and my research course is actually it counts for my bio lab credits, so I got that out
Mhm.
of the way.
Okay.
Um, I feel like there's something else, but that's what I can think of at the top of my head.
Nice. So it sounds like you've been pretty busy.
Yeah.
Has it been fine? Has it been manageable, or has it been like too much?
No, yeah, it's manageable. I
Okay.
think with the switch to online, it's been a little easier on me because like with lab times, we had to come in for like with my 2 lab classes, I was probably in a lab like 7 hours a week,
Mhm.
but
Okay.
it's a lot easier now.
Yeah. Yeah. It seems like a lot. Were you able to get good grades with all of that on your plate?
Yeah, yeah, it was fine.
Okay, cool. Because I think that's awesome. It seems like you're covering all the bases. You're on top of it. So so just keep it up. But keep a finger on your pulse of how you're doing, and
Hmm.
just you know try to maintain that balance in your life. And I'm not just saying this just because I'm interested in mental health, and um,
Hmm.
and it's a personal area or interest of mine, but also medical schools are more and more aware of this huge issue that we have of medical student and doctor burnout.
Yeah.
And so medical schools are actually really on the lookout for that, as they're looking for pre-meds of, are we taking in somebody that's going to make it all the way through medical school and residency and as an attending, with a good amount of balance in their life, and not just, um,
Hmm.
and not, you need to show that you're able to kind of be able to control how much you put on your plate and
Yeah, definitely.
overwhelming yourself. So keep an eye out for that. But it sounds like you're absolutely killing it and like you're a superstar. So keep it up.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. So things are going well from an academic perspective. Have you found um, any other things? And we talked about, the research that you've been doing outside of class, the calligraphy, the Instagram and stuff. Is there anything else,
Hmm.
either from a class perspectives or side classes that you found to be interesting, or from like more of a social perspective?
What do you mean,
Just
by the perspectives?
well, so I guess, so beginning with this sociology minor, um,
Hmm.
have there been like particular classes that you've really enjoyed for that, or was there a particular class that sort of drew you into that, or I guess I'm trying to understand, like, interpersonally, what do you have going on, either in classes that that sort of touch on these sociology or psychology or sort of communication and things like that, or whether you have interpersonal things going on outside of the classroom that are, that sort of involve some of those interpersonal skills.
Oh, okay. So, I'd say with my classes, we haven't really worked a lot on communication like this semester,
Mm-hmm.
with my sociology class.
Mm-hmm.
It's an intro class. It was my first sociology class in college. So we kind of just went through different issues in society like race, gender, and kind of the history of them. So it wasn't really like in depth, but recently I heard about this crisis text line thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's a 24/7 service where like volunteer crisis counselors help those who text in with a crisis. And
Mm-hmm.
so I recently finished up training and I'm going to start volunteering with them today.
Awesome.
And I really like the training because the main thing I took away from it was like empathy versus sympathy.
Mm-hmm.
And I really liked it because like before I knew there was a difference, but I didn't really get to dive in deep about the difference. So I
Yeah.
really liked that, the
Cool.
training. Yeah. But I haven't started yet.
Perfect. And so that's good. I guess my question before is a little rambly, but I was trying to get a feel for sort of behavioral sciences um, and like interpersonal skills, because that's always a question with somebody who's, a bio major that's in the lab a
Hmm.
lot, is how's their bedside manner going to be, and are they aware of some of these, uh, sociological issues or psychological sort of principles, and then and are they,
Oh yeah.
do they have good interpersonal skills and things like that. So it seems like the sociology part of that is really good, and I think that it's a really great major to add, or sorry,
Hmm.
minor to add to your major. And then from an interpersonal perspective, do you have some sort of clubs or groups? I know you mentioned this fraternity. Is there other things like that that you are involved in?
No, no, I'm not really involved in any other orgs. I did want to start volunteering at a hospital next semester or join an org that had more volunteering opportunities.
Hmm. Okay.
But yeah,
Yeah,
that's basically it.
that could be, an idea. And again, you don't want to ever have, too much on your plate, but if you
Hmm.
have the time and energy for it, I think either being in a leadership position or like an executive, what do they call those? Like an executive group of a club or something like that. That's sort of, that requires sort of
Hmm.
interpersonal skills and coordinating with other people. Or volunteering can be good, although I do think that a lot of pre-meds kind of waste a lot of time volunteering with things that aren't that high of yield for them. As in, if you're
Hmm.
volunteering at the front desk of a hospital for like tons of hours every week, that will take away a lot from your studying. And
Oh
really,
yeah.
at least to me in medicine, it doesn't show to me that like, oh, they're going to have good bedside manner because they told people where the cafeteria is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that volunteering with something, the crisis text line, I think is really good for,
Hmm.
sort of building some of those interpersonal skills and sort of the compassion and sort of, way to communicate, especially in psychiatry. And I think, volunteer opportunities where you're really, helping people one-on-one that are really going through a tough time or something like that,
Hmm.
is maybe a little higher yield than being at the front desk of a hospital. I don't know what the other opportunities are at the hospital. Maybe it would be really good, because it is good to get some sort of clinical exposure, as you're aware. So
Hmm. Okay.
yeah. And I would encourage you also, there's already a lot on your plate. But if you can shadow some doctors here and there, you are still a freshman in college. You're not
Hmm.
locked into this decision. And I think it is healthy for pre-meds to get a little taste of what's ahead of them, just to know, whether or not it really is what you want. And if it is what you want, then it will firm that up for you. And if maybe it wasn't the right fit, then that will come out when you
Hmm.
uh, shadow. So, um, Yeah. But it sounds like you're really on a great path, and I think you're doing well. So I'm happy for
Okay,
you.
great. That's good to
Yeah.
hear.
Yeah. All right. Well, my time is running out here. Any last questions for me? Things we didn't cover?
I think my biggest question right now is like how to get involved with leadership that isn't like an officer position because I'm still like one of the newest members in the fraternity, so we're not allowed to run for office. I was
Yeah.
thinking of, or well, I applied to be an academic peer mentor next
Hmm.
semester at this learning center at my school, and I'm also interested in becoming an undergraduate TA. Like, I don't know if that would help with communication
Yeah.
skills or anything.
Totally. Yeah. I think both of those would be good options. I also tell people, try to uh, bundle things together as much as you can. So, like, if you have to get a job because like you need money, then if you were to work at a sandwich shop, all that you would be getting as a benefit out of that is the money, versus
Mhm.
if you got a job as a tutor, you would have both sort of the teaching skills you'd be gaining. You would also be earning money, and you would also sort of firm up your knowledge base around certain topics. So like something like that
Okay.
sort of has multiple benefits. And I think some of those things you mentioned, I don't know if they're paid or not, but it seemed like they kind of have more things to offer there as a benefit. So
Okay, that's good to hear.
those are good. And it is really difficult, as a freshman or sophomore to get in a leadership position. And that's fine. I guess I was saying, once you are actually applying to med school, that you do have some leadership on your application, would be good,
Mhm.
but you have a couple years to do that. So no,
Okay.
no rush, no pressure.
Okay, good to hear.
Yeah. All right. Well, good. Well, it was great chatting with you, Megan.
Yeah, you too.
Yeah. Good luck with everything.
Thank you.
And, keep doing well, but don't work too hard, and allow yourself to do some random things that you enjoy, because those will actually help you to stand out.
Okay, thank you.
All
Good
right.
luck
Yeah.
on your residency.
Thank you. All right. See ya.
All right.
Bye.
Thank you.